Hi, and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we cover all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we do a new character every week. This week, we're going to be talking about Apocalypse, and I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Steven.
Hello, everybody. We've got the whole crew here today. How is everyone doing? How are you doing today, Brad?
I guess I'm doing okay.
That's good to hear. How about you, Brandon? How are you doing?
Doing good.
Steven, what's up?
Doing pretty well.
I'm glad to hear it. I am out of town in a hotel for work, so I am going to sound a little different, or maybe I'm not. There tends to be very little disconnect there. But if you can tell a difference in my voice, or if I sometimes am a little more echoey than normal because I'm pacing back and forth in my hotel room, that is why. Well, let's begin by talking about some of the upcoming events. Coming up later this month, we're going to have on the 14th of September is the Akron Brew Brawl. That is in Missing Falls Brewery. That was an event that was held earlier in March, I believe, and it was a ton of fun. I am looking forward to attending it again. As of right now, in our crew, it's only going to be myself and Brad, unless we can talk Brandon into joining us.
Brandon
but-
can't go.
Oh, well, okay. All right, well, it's just going to be myself and Brad. Hopefully there are going to be more people showing up. Right now, I think it's only 15 people who are currently signed up, so, oh well. It's going to be not as big as it was back in March, but it should still be a ton of fun. And other than that,
Fred,
coming up on the 20th... Oh, yes?
did you see the game they added?
Did they add War Machine?
Yeah, they added War Machine. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy. Is that just because they were going to have more space and they wanted to fill space?
I
think that might be.
people wanted, requested it.
Okay. I mean, it'll be nice to see some War Machine taking place.
Yeah, I couldn't see them adding a game without people being like, "Hey, we want to come play this game."
Okay. I have not seen War Machine played in years, and I am interested to go see it. I want to see how it looks now. I know it's completely different.
Yeah.
From when I used to play. All right. Well, that's on the 14th of September. Coming up on the 21st of September is a tournament at Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston. That will be run by Brad. That's our local game store, and I will not be able to attend, unfortunately, because I will be out of town that weekend. And
then you
yeah.
should drop yourself from the tournament, Fred.
Oh, am I still signed up? I need to drop myself from the tournament then. Okay. I will do that shortly. But yeah. Then coming up on the 28th of September is the BECC tournament qualifier at Fabricators Forge in Pittsburgh. This is also going to be a LVO qualifier. So if you win, you will be qualified to go to LVO. So this is going to be a big event. I myself am going to attend, as are Brad and several others, I believe. I'm looking forward to it. God, this is a packed month. This month is packed.
And then where are we going in October, Fred?
Yeah, in October is Second Wind. Oh boy. Well, hold on, I don't have October open. That is going to be on the 19th of October is Second Wind in Chicago. And I am going to that. I will be there.
So you were qualified for it?
I was going to say that I'm qualified, and then I said I'm going. I qualified by signing up first, by signing up in time.
You qualified really well. You put your credit card information in. They accepted it.
You had to be quick.
Exactly.
You had to be quick. The tournament was sold out in like an hour, if that.
Very exclusive qualifications. All
Free
right.
time and a credit card.
Exactly. Well, that is the events coming up. There is some news out of AMG that we need to discuss, and that is that we now know the models that are going to be in New Mutants. Brad, do you have those models in front of you?
If you let me type into
Okay.
Cerebro, yes, I
So
do. That I have them right in front of me. They are
okay.
Magic the Leader, the only leader right now. It's a team tactics card. Cable, Emma Frost, Shadowcat, Sunspot, Warlock, X-23.
Okay. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? I know very little about the New Mutants as a faction. I know very little about the lore. Brad, why don't you start us on discussing this?
Okay, so this list implies to me a couple things. And I'm just gonna go through the uh, the models kind of haphazardly and tell you what they mean. So Magic, Sunspot, Warlock, straight up New Mutants. That's fine. Shadowcat, as I mentioned before in the podcast, New Mutant for like half an issue of Uncanny X-Men. So a bit of a stretch, but whatever, it's fine.
Hey, it counts.
Cable was in like the last, not even six. It was less than 6 issues of New Mutants. Also a bit of a stretch, but fine. Like, whatever.
He's old. How could he be new?
He was leading the team in those issues, but Emma Frost and X-23. Those are the weird ones. And I think they mean something very specific. Emma Frost was headmistress of the school that Generation X went to. And X-23 was actually a member of Academy X, which is a different group of kids that went to Xavier's school.
Oh my god. This is so confusing. Like, why is everything have an X and it's just a different term before or after that? Oh, okay.
Not the New Mutants. They
Keep
don't
going.
have an X. So what I'm saying
you're right.
is I think that they're putting all of the generations of students in one affiliation.
Okay. That makes sense.
That
They're
like
simplifying that.
when Sync and Monet come out, who are very popular characters now, who are Generation X characters, they're gonna put them in New Mutants. When I'm trying to think of a famous Academy X member, maybe Dust is the most famous. When Dust comes to the game, they're going to put Dust in the New Mutants. I think that's what they're going to
There's
do.
so many mutants. How are you still doing this where you're naming mutants that I have never heard of before?
They all sound made up.
It's a gift.
Dust.
It's his mutant superpower.
Dust has a new code name. Her new code name is Congregation. And guess where she lives now?
Is it the island nation of Krakoa?
No. Well, Krakoa is over. She lives on Mars. Well, not Mars. Araco.
Yeah. Okay.
On the planet
okay.
Araco.
So why? For listeners out there, I have very recently finished reading 10 of Swords or X of Swords, which is a
It's
compilation
10.
of okay. Imagine my confusion when everything in this goddamn universe has the word X in
But
it.
it's 10 because there's 10 sword bearers on each side.
Yeah. So I finished reading that compilation, and we were discussing it before the podcast started. But it was good. I enjoyed it, but it involved the nation, the island of Krakoa and Araco.
Yes.
So that's why he is talking about it in that way to me.
Fred also. Oh shoot! I just lost my thing. Oh, and do you remember? It was one of the early trivia questions. It was about Colossus, and I said that his sister can't spell.
Oh yes, that happened in this book. I saw it happen.
It did.
Where she says, the person says, spell the word magic, or it's not magic, but
It is.
spell.
It was magic.
Yeah, and she put a K on the end of it.
And looks really confused when she's told that she's wrong. Okay, I did my part. Now Brandon tells us if it's good or not.
Hey Brandon, what are your thoughts here on this New Mutants affiliation?
I like the models.
Yeah, like every model in here is good.
I
There's
like-
not a bad.
I don't remember what I don't remember what the leadership does.
I like that there
they
aren't three of them.
Right, yeah. There's more than just the three that it was initially looking like it was going to be. The leadership is that they can, when one of them is attacked, after the attack is resolved, a new mutant within range 3 of the attacked model may spend 1 power, and they can place themselves within range 1 of the model that was attacked.
Does it have to be a
So,
new mutant or just an affiliated model?
Ooh, I
Yeah,
think it's
that's-
affiliated model. I
Okay,
think it's
because that's a
affiliated model.
big difference.
That is a big difference.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
I think I said it correctly.
Yeah, I don't believe you anymore.
That's fair. That's fair.
Is it even? Is it just? Oh, it's just called the New Mutants. If an allied character is targeted by an enemy attack, after the attack resolve, another allied character within 3 may spend 1 power to use this leadership ability to place the character. The spend power within 1 of the target character. Yeah, no, I
Hey,
think
was
it's really good.
That was exactly what I said, except I said New Mutant instead of allied character.
Yeah, you said words that made it way worse than it actually is. Oh, I mean, like, yeah, you said it right, but like, you made it way worse. You made it like.
yeah.
Oh crap, new mutants. Yeah, like a combination of like Magic, Shadowcat, X-23, and Warlock with like Emma and Sunspot, and then possibly Cable. Like that's a really, really good start to a really good scenario roster. Having the ability to flip between New Mutants and Hellfire Club and X-Force, to be honest, because Cable, Sunspot, Warlock, and X-23 are all in X-Force. You will have plenty of opportunity to play different leaderships. You'll have a lot of diversity in your list. You can start with those 7 and easily add like another 3, probably another 4 and a 2, and you've got a really, really good roster just right out of the gate with that affiliation. Being able to play scenario with Sunspot and X-23 and Cable, you can play some attrition. I think it's got a lot of good play. You start with those 7, add like Black Cat, Bishop, and Toad, and you're in a really, really good spot, in my opinion.
Okay.
You guys can agree or disagree.
I do think
I don't disagree.
I think it's gonna be really easy to cross over with X-Force.
Yeah, because how many of them are? I think that do we know if Sunspot is X-Force?
And so
Yes,
is Warlock for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're both
So yeah, I
X-Force.
mean,
Of the ones in it, X-23, Warlock, Sunspot, and Cable are all X-Force.
yeah. So it's a very tight Venn diagram between New Mutants and X-Force.
Yeah, I guess instead of Bishop, you probably just play is Psylocke X-Force?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you probably just play Psylocke instead of Bishop. I do like Bishop a lot, though. But I don't hate playing You could play.
Psylocke's
Nah,
one of
like-
the best 4-pointers.
Yeah, I like having 5 threes. So, yeah, I think I would add Black Cat, Psylocke, and then Toad, and then go from there.
Good list. Sounds like a good list.
So,
It's not bad at all. What are your thoughts here, Steven? We've been talking without you for too long.
I'm looking at Emma Frost hard here, and I can agree with everything that Brad and Brandon have said, but she's interesting to me because not that she can switch to the My Hellfire Club tactics card, and you have a new affiliation, obviously, but it seems to me that they're going in the direction that since her card got restricted, I think the wordings on that card is going to change. And I think her Hellfire Club is going to be situated to any other affiliation she's associated with instead of just drawing everybody in. You know what I mean?
Ooh, that's a huge reduction in her. Okay. That is very possible. They may do that.
If they did it, they'd have to unrestrict that card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what they did with Doom Prophecy, right?
They made it Asgard.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the way it's going because you now have the Brotherhood. She's obviously with the X-Men, and
Emma's Brotherhood, Hellfire, New Mutants, and Uncanny.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that roster is getting big enough for her where they can cut the other people that she pulls in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Here's an issue with her being New Mutants. You can't use her. You can't flex into her leadership without losing a restricted card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
yeah,
I think that's the situation that they're going for is that card will get unrestricted, but the restriction put on it is that any affiliation she's associated with, those characters can be drawn into her Hellfire Club.
This will be like Deception, where they just got rid of Deception and then have a brand new card that's her card.
I think it'll be worded the same.
Yeah, it'll be the same thing, just it'll have that stipulation on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's the most interesting thing to me. That's what I immediately thought when I saw that.
Okay, that is an interesting thought. That is very possible. Okay, so that is those are the New Mutants. I'm not going to play them. I don't have any of these models, and I'm not that drawn to playing the X-Men. But I know that Brad will probably play these. But
I do plan on trying them out.
Okay. All right then. Well, let's move on to games that we've. Oh, did you want to keep?
I was just saying I have all of them except for one of the models.
I mean, that's pretty good. You could play the. Are you planning to play New Mutants?
I don't know. It's a good question that I don't have the answer to at the moment.
How do you have a Sunspot Warlock?
Because I got him early. What do you want?
Oh wow, cool. He's using his positioning.
Brad, don't believe me. I'm just messing with Brad.
All right. Well, let's move on to games that we've played recently. I have not played any games since the last record, and even since the last record before that, I've been slacking, mostly because I've been out of town. But I know that Brad and Brandon have games, and Steven, do you have any games?
Sure do.
Okie dokie. So who wants to go first?
I can go first because I technically didn't play a game.
Okay. All right, Steven, tell us about your games.
I think I mentioned last week that we have new players coming into our store, and amazingly enough, those new players showed up again to play on our Thursday night. So it was all great.
Excellent.
It was Kyle and Lex specifically, and I thought new players, I like to introduce them to more than just like one person that they're playing against. So I did a separation anxiety ultimate encounter, so I could get them with two other people in our group, and then I was going to just arbitrate the whole thing. Everybody had fun. The two people who came to help me out with the game that night were Kyle, who you guys know, who's the comic fan, Wolverine fan
Oh,
that
yes.
Brad got to play, and then also Cody, our very jovial, gentle giant, who plays Doctor Strange in weird ways, and Brad doesn't like. So,
I did not.
so we played that game. I will refer to, since I have two Kyles, our new Kyle are referred to as Mr. Kyle, and then our regular Kyle will just be Kyle. So Mr. Kyle brought Daredevil and his Defenders faction. Lex, she brought a Malekith Loki Cabal, 4-point Loki. Cody brought Wakanda, led by M'Baku. And then you can guess that Kyle brought he brought X-Men, led by Cyclops, but he also had Wolverine and X-23 because it's Kyle, and
That makes sense.
we know he's going to do that. So, but everybody had a ton of fun. Cody ended up being the winner, but like Lexi was really happy because Malekith was just wrecking everything, and Loki was running away from everything. Mr. Kyle liked everything that Daredevil was doing because he was doing his strike backs, but he was doing it into Cyclops, who did his little, funky, I will damage you if you don't do any damage to me. So that was a pretty good fight. So lots of things were going on. Lots of chaos was had, but needless to say, everybody had a good time. And then we're going to separate out, and we're probably going to do some one-on-ones next week. But needless to say, everything's really good. I would, and then we went to have our usual buy one get one free chicken after the games. So, and then Lex came with us, and we found out that she has a comic knowledge that rivals probably Brad's. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, exactly. When I asked her what characters she wanted in the game, she named one of them I really was not familiar with, and I apologize. I don't know the name. But then when I mentioned who I wanted, I said on the mutant side I want Longshot, right? And I said on the non-mutant side I want Paladin, and she actually knew who Paladin was, which that's really she.
Yeah,
she said that was
a deep cut.
And that's what she said, but she knew exactly who it was. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I explained how I like Silver Sable, and she's a real Silver Sable fan. So we kind of connected a little bit over that. So
Steven.
So the two of you are now best friends.
no, we're not. We're mutual acquaintances still. But like I said, Mr. Kyle and Lex, their character, excellent. So, I mean, and they really like us. So, and they usually go to a game store that doesn't have a lot of events, but they're trying to get that up too. So we're probably going to do an association thing to try to help that out. So
Cool.
Steven.
This was, sorry.
yeah,
Go ahead.
sure.
They just added Silver Sable to the phone card game, Marvel Snap.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't play Marvel Snap. When I usually go out on the road, I'm usually playing Marvel Strike Force. So I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I have played that game too.
Yeah. I got a Spider Foes team that's pretty good. But I'm only like level 53 or 54. I haven't played it in a while. So.
All right. Separation anxiety. That is the like the venom based one with a bunch of different venoms, right?
Right.
Or like
exactly.
a bunch of different symbiotes is the correct term.
That attaches to your characters. That's right. And they give you different superpowers. So you start with 11 threat of characters, which I like is that it's a set level threat. And then you get up to 3 tactics cards. So
Cool.
And then you go from there and just it's basically a King of the Hill with Keep Away. So
right.
So made for a fun time.
It sounds like it. We've done separation anxiety, and it was fun, but it was a long time ago when we did it. All right, well, Brad, why don't you talk about your game?
I played Aaron, and I don't remember the scenario, but he played Namor Shield, and I played Cyclops X-Men. And I remember the game was really close. Like we were close on points the whole time. But he did win in the end. Trying to think if there was anything really cool or anything weird we played. Oh, it did get weird because he had multiple guys on my home D, and then I was in the other spots at the end of the game. And
So you guys swapped table positions?
yeah. I had 2 guys on his home D, and he had at least 2 guys on mine until the very last move of the game. We had to look up a couple rules, like on the rules forum to make sure. Well, one of them I already knew, but another one we had to like look up. So this is a very interesting ruling. I was gonna hit and run and shoot his Namor, and he was gonna eye it in the sky it, and he said, "But I don't know how that works." And I went, "I also don't know how that works." So I looked it up. Here's what happens when you hit and run, and then someone eyes in the skies and moves out of your range. You get to move, and then you get your action back.
Wait, whoa, really?
Yes.
Hold on, that seems wrong. That's crazy.
That is what they said on the rules forum, and I'm like, hit and run is the best ability ever.
That is crazy.
That's like getting 3 actions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he decided that he was not gonna eye in the sky.
Probably the right call.
Yeah, that was fair. I'm like, that's fine. The other one is it happened literally the next attack. I went to beam. I was gonna get the Shield Grunts, Nick Fury, and Namor, and he was gonna eye in the sky Namor. And he thought that he could just get out from under the beam, but Eye in the Sky specifically says that you have to be either out of line of sight or out of range, and it's really hard to get out of range of a range 5 attack.
So he couldn't, even though he was outside of the beam.
And once again, he's like, "Okay, I don't want to do that." And I'm like, "That's also fair. Like, you don't have to spend the power for that."
That seems less crazy of a ruling than the...
And that's just reading the card and doing what the card says.
Yeah. That hit and run ruling is nuts. That's nuts.
The hit and run one feels like it's just like should be revisited. That just feels like it's not okay and should not be the way that was ruled.
Yeah.
Brad, does that work for charges too?
Charges, you specifically don't get the action back. I'm pretty sure. I didn't look it up, but that's what I've always heard. That's what really blew my mind. I'll look it up right now.
Okay. Well, while he's looking that up, Brandon, I know you have games that you've played recently as well. Do you want to talk about any of them?
I mean, I can. I played 2 games against Jared. He was playing New Asgard. We played 15 points both games. We played Senators and Sword Base. Game 1. I played Criminal Syndicate. He played New Asgard. He played Thor, Loki, Bill. I don't know.
Oh,
I played...
Charge works like Eye in the Sky.
Do you mean hit and run?
I mean, yeah, like hit and run.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Still feels wrong.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's weird. Okay.
I played Kingpin, Shadowland, Daredevil, Shang-Chi. Sorry, my dog got something and apparently decided he wanted to tear something up today. Shang-Chi, Black Cat, 4, 8, 12, 15. Yeah, so I played Shadowland, Daredevil, Kingpin, Shang-Chi, Black Cat. I won that game pretty. I basically kept his whole team staggered, and basically was able to just like rotate around points and flip the shield bases because he couldn't stay on like all three of them and try to attack me, through like shadow organization and stealth.
Okay.
So I basically just kept staggers on Loki and Thor almost every turn, prevented them from being able to do an attack and a move, and ended up winning that game. And then the second game we played Senators and Gamma on 15. He played the same list. I played Brotherhood. I played Mystique, Pyro, Blob, Black Cat, Angel.
Okay. Nice.
Pyro did absolutely nothing and single-handedly lost me the game because he could not roll a wild on 4 pumped attacks in a row.
Oh.
One wild gets an incinerate, and I can play pyrotechnics to have him drop the token, and I win the game. I did not win the game. We finished in turn 5. I lost 24-23.
Holy moly! This was a high-scoring game.
Yeah, we tied at
It's a
19.
very close one.
Yeah, we
Was
tied
it?
it.
But
Go ahead.
was it really Pyro rolling the dice? Wasn't it you rolling the dice?
We're not. It was Pyro's dumbass who didn't want to get the wild trigger. I gave him everything to obtain his wild, and he could not do it.
Man.
Yeah, it was just one wild away, and it changes things. I got lucky. Blob did really. I mean, everyone did everything they should have done except for Pyro. He literally did nothing, but it was fine. I've
Oh, wow.
realized that's been the issue I've always had with Pyro. If he's not like getting anything across on his attacks, like he just does nothing, and it feels real bad. But
Yeah. All right. Well, those were the games that we played. Thank you for sharing, everyone. Let us move on now. Hey, Steven.
Mm-hmm.
I am to understand that you have our speculation corner ready this week.
Yes. Well, yes, I do. The only reason I have it ready is because it's really quick to do. So,
Okay.
all right.
So what are we doing?
You remember last time we did the Asgardian box, and that was quite enlightening. So, knowing that we have a couple of characters revealed in boxes that are coming up, I've kind of taken an amalgamation of those boxes plus another box that tend to be quote unquote monster themed. So, Abomination is kind of a monster, right? So,
Okay. Yeah.
we're going to do him. We're going to do the Living Mummy, Frankenstein's monster, and then Man Thing and Elsa Bloodstone. We're not doing the cosmic characters just yet, which would be Yondu and Nova. I'm probably going to group them in with the Inhumans for kind of like a cosmic kind of like feel. So,
Okay. All right.
but are you guys ready to give your predictions on what threat levels you think these characters will be?
Sure.
All right. So, Brad, what do you think Abomination's threat level will be?
6.
6. Why do you think this?
Because Hulk is 6.
Okay. Brandon?
I think he'll be the first one-sided 5-threat character.
Okay. And Fred.
I was also going to say 5. Do we know for a fact he's one-sided? Is that a known piece of
We
information?
don't.
Okay. Then I'm going to say he's a 5-threat model and he is not one-sided.
Okay.
I also think he's not one-sided.
Okay. So I'm just going to put one-sided for Brandon and a 5-threat. All right.
That's an extra point for Brandon if he comes out, if that's correct.
No, and you guys can do that with any of these, okay? So if you want to get extra points, you can give a speculation to that.
Okay.
So the living mummy that comes in the monster box, who is the only one that is not on a 50 millimeter base, it looks like.
Okay. The living mummy.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you want to go first?
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll go in alphabetical order again. Brad, what do you think?
This sucks because this is one of those characters I know very little about. Let's go 3.
Okay. Brandon?
I want to go 3, but I want to be different. I'm going to say 2.
2. Oh my gosh. We haven't had a 2 since Honey Badger.
Yeah, we need some more 2s.
It's literally been years. I don't think we're going to get another one.
Fred?
I don't either. It's probably a 3.
I'm with Brad. I think this is going to be a 3. We know the other 2 monsters, Dracula and the Werewolf by Night, are both 5 threats, so they need some smaller threat models.
Okay. Or do they?
Or do they? Maybe that's just going to be their thing. You might be right.
Could be another Asgard, right?
Yeah.
So next we have Frankenstein's monster. And we'll start with Fred this time.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this is going to be a 4-threat model.
Okay. Brandon?
Yeah, I want to go 4 as well.
And Brad, what do you got?
Okay, this isn't going to be exciting because I also thought he was a 4.
Okay, so all right. And then for the box that's associated with monsters, that would be Elsa Bloodstone and Man Thing. We'll start with Elsa Bloodstone, and we'll start with Brandon.
Bloodstone, I think, will be a 3.
All right, Fred.
I think she's going to be a 4 because Blade is a 4 and they don't want to have multiple threat leaders. They tend to have the same threat level in leaders quite often. Not every time, but oftentimes.
All right, and Brad, what do you think?
3, and I'm going to go for that extra point here. I think she's going to have a Midnight Suns leadership.
Well, we already knew that.
Now, hold on. We know that. That is known information.
Start it.
Oh, boy. Jeez.
Makes Brad feel any better. I was going to say the exact same thing.
But yes, this is already known knowledge. Now, if you would have said something, she's going to be, her as a leader, she's not going to have any mystic attacks, then I would have been like, okay, that we can do.
She probably won't. I do have one.
Okay.
I do have one. She's going to have a card that brings her back to life.
Oh. Kind of
okay.
like a Ghost Rider, right?
Yeah. Unless they have learned their lesson, I think they'll do that again.
So a resurrection card is what I'm going to put.
Yeah.
All right. And last but not least is Man Thing. it looks like he's on a 65 millimeter base. And we'll go with Brad first.
4.
4.
4.
Mm-hmm. Brandon.
I was also gonna say 4. Yeah, I'm gonna say 4 again.
Okay. Fred.
I'm gonna say 5 to be different.
Have we had a 4 threat on the biggest base yet? Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
Black Dwarf and
Black
Rhino.
Dwarf. Duh.
And Rhino.
And Rhino. Yeah. It's rare though. It's very rare. So I think that's what they'll keep it. Fred, you have no speculations on any of these. If you
I don't. Oh, then I've got to put a speculation on somebody. I'm going to speculate that. You see, here's the problem: is I know nothing about any of these characters. Well, so I'll do what I know. I'm going to say that the mummy is going to come with a tactics card that gives out poison.
all right. Well, I've got everything written down for future references. I think these are kind of neat. I actually think Brad's resurrection card on Elsa should be on the living mummy. To tell you the truth.
Okay.
Um,
That's
what are your speculations?
That's what the bloodstone in her chest does, though. It keeps her alive.
True.
So
And I also think Man Thing's going to be a 6, in my personal opinion.
Okay. Because there's not a 6 threat model in Midnight Suns.
Right. There's a gap. Yeah.
Yeah, there's none. I was thinking that too, but I also think that 6 threat is. There's a huge looming problem in 6 threat, and it is Hulk 1.
Do you know how powerful Man Thing in the comics is?
No, I have no idea. I've never read it.
Okay. Brad might want to give you a little education on him. So
Okay.
he's gonna give out incinerate.
a lot of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Fred, he guards the he used to be a human. He guards the nexus of all realities, which is in the middle of a swamp in Florida. And all that no fear burn at the touch of Man Thing.
Okay. All that no fear.
Yeah. And
so does that mean that Daredevil can touch him?
Probably.
Because he's the man without fear?
Very good, Fred. One more thing. He was in a comic called Giant Size Man Thing. That's important.
Okay. All right.
Because of the comedy.
It is a joke, but they called it that on purpose. Giant Size Man Thing.
But yeah, I think he'll have a power where if he is like attacking somebody who's damaged, he's going to add dice to his attack roll depending on how much damage they have. Yeah. I think that's how his mechanic. That would be my guess.
Okay. Interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what these models do.
Yeah, Man Thing's very, very exciting. Like I said, like Brad said, he guards the nexus of all realities. So any realities that try to get through, they got to get through this guy, and they really haven't gotten through. So,
I mean, Howard did, but
yeah, but he's just a freaking. He's my Cleveland superhero. What are you talking about?
That's true.
All right. So, all right. Well, we'll revisit these when they slowly come out for us. So that'll be exciting.
All right, then. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Stephen. Brad, do you have a trivia game for us today?
I do. And I actually really like the giving Brandon and Stephen a chance to talk it out. So we're going to do it that way again. So I'm going to give Fred some trivia from Marvel Comics, which he has only read very few of that I have handed him. And
yes.
He doesn't know anything. except what I've said, and he doesn't listen to me most of the time. So if he gets that right with the original trivia, he'll get 3 points. I'll give him a hint. If he gets it right with that, he'll get 2 points. And we'll throw it to Brandon and Steven to talk it out, and whatever answer they come up with together, Fred can earn 1 point. He'll need 6 points to win, and he hasn't won in a while. So I'm rooting for you, Fred.
I won. Was it 2 weeks ago? I won a little while ago.
Maybe. Did you win on the bonus question? Because that doesn't
Yes.
really count. This character has multiple children, mostly from alternate timelines. One child is from the future and will never be born, but still gets to run around and meet her parents in the current timeline. One of this character's possible future children has the powers of both her parents, although she manifests her mom's power as a different gemstone. Yet another of this character's alternate children was created artificially by Mr. Sinister in that alternate timeline. That child has also made it to the main universe. Mr. Sinister also created the mother of this character's only child so far in the main universe.
Okay, so this is Cyclops, right? This is Scott Summers.
That is correct, and I'm going to read you the hint because I took time to write it.
Okay.
This character was removed from leadership of the team that they led when beaten by a powerless member of the team. This character then left the team to go live a normal life. That all ended when an editor brought back this character's former girlfriend, who he immediately leaves his wife and child to go be with.
Jeez. Is the powerless person that he loses to the girlfriend of who was it from last episode?
Candy Southern, Angel's girlfriend.
Andy Southern.
No. It was
okay,
Storm.
because she had no powers at the time.
She had no powers at the time. They had been taken away from her.
Okay.
So Mr. Sinister created Madeline Pryor, the clone of Jean Grey, who is Cable's birth mom, and so that's how all that's connected.
Okay.
But good job, Fred. You have 3 points. You're halfway there.
Yeah, and he had a child with alternate Emma Frost, who was something. What was her name?
Ruby Summers.
Ruby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who is, I have said this multiple times, my favorite Scott Summers child.
Okay.
She is made of ruby quartz and can shoot laser beams out of her eyes like her dad.
Okay, then.
All right. Your next trivia question. This character has become more powerful over time. Starting out as a fairly weak character, at one point this character had to wear a belt after his powers were enhanced by Loki to prevent him from destroying the Earth. Later, when Emma Frost takes over his mind, she displays uses of this character's powers beyond any level this character has ever shown. She tells this character that he can unlock these powers once he faces his hidden secret. He now has control enough to use these same powers after having a tough conversation with his younger self about that secret he's been hiding.
Oh, jeez. Okay. So some of this sounds vaguely familiar. I'm not going to be able to pull out who it is. It's Loki that raised his powers, or who gave him a belt to control his powers.
Loki did not give him the belt.
Loki gave him the power, like a boost to his powers,
Yes.
and he has to wear a belt to control them.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. Is it I have no idea. Is it Sunspot?
That is incorrect. This character once left superheroing to become an accountant. His closest.
You see, this sounds so familiar. Oh crap!
Hold on, I'm not done.
Okay.
His closest friends also leave, one to run his business and the other to pursue science. They all meet up again later to join the Marvel non-team and make it a proper superhero team?
So this sounds so. I am gonna kick myself. I don't know the answer. I'm gonna say Shocker, because doesn't he leave being I guess you said superhero, didn't you?
I did say superhero, Fred.
You did say superhero, so it's not Shocker. He left at one point to become like an investment banker or something. So, but not him, not Shocker. Uh, I it, I don't remember. I don't remember who this is. I'm gonna say I have no. I'm gonna put down no guess because I can't think of someone who you wouldn't mock me for.
Oh, but it's fun to mock you. Make a guess.
Okay, all right. Then I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say Bishop.
Oh my god, that's the dumbest answer I've ever heard, Fred. Okay. Steven and or Brandon, what do you guys got?
Hey, Brandon, I think this is Iceman all day long.
I do too.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a consensus that this is Iceman, and it is.
Okay. All
We
right.
talked
Iceman.
about this like it couldn't have been more than 2 weeks ago.
I know this sounded so familiar.
So his hidden secret is that he's gay,
Right.
and it took his younger time traveling self being outed to, and then having conversation with his older self before he started dating men, and then his close friends that also leave superheroing. The first one to run his business is Angel, and to pursue
Okay.
science is Beast, and the non-team that they make into a proper superhero team is the Defenders.
Oh, okay.
So the Defenders, like, its gimmick for a very long time is that they weren't actually a team. They just kind of worked together as needed, but they weren't like a proper team.
Mm-hmm.
And then they finally like make it a real superhero team after Beast, Angel, and Iceman join, and Candy Southern leads them,
Okay.
and Gargoyle is also there. Okay, your last question, and you just have to get it right on the first go, Fred. This character has twice left superheroing to get married and raise kids. Neither has worked out well. In the first marriage, this character lost both of their kids, and in the second, this character lost their wife and son and dog. They still have a
God.
They still have a daughter, Viv, left from the second marriage, and the kids from the first got better.
Okay. All right. I'd like to clarify something. Is that I should have 4 points right now, so I could get this on.
Oh yeah,
after
yeah,
the
yeah.
hint
You're
and still
right.
win.
You're right. Steven and Brandon got you a point.
Yeah. Okay. So this character has lost, given up super, blah blah blah.
I only missed like half of that. Are we trying to guess the mom or the dad?
It's the dad.
Okay.
I
I
think.
know the
Wait,
I
it
know the
could be the
I know
mom.
the answer. I was just wanting to know if that was specified.
It could be the mom. This person just lost their wife. I'm gonna say, is it Deadpool?
That is incorrect.
Okay. Oh well.
Your hint. In universe, this character was built by a biologist. This character is powered by absorbing solar energy and has the brain structure of a former Avenger within their mind.
Is this character Vision?
That is correct. Good job,
Okay.
Fred. You won.
Okay.
Your bonus
Yay.
worth 0 points. You know what? I'm feeling nice today. Your bonus worth infinity points. What do these characters have in common?
Okay, so we have Vision, we have Scott Summers, and we have the second one.
Iceman.
Iceman. We have Vision, we have Cyclops, and we have Iceman.
Iceman comes out of the closet and he gets immediately forgotten by Fred.
Fred is like, while Fred's thinking, Fred is like the poster child of the primacy and recency rule of psychology. He only
You're
ever
correct.
remembers
You're
the
absolutely
first
right.
and last person.
You're correct. That is exactly what's happening every time. I remember the first and last time, travel with the second. Does Iceman have a beam attack? Yeah, they all have beam attacks.
Can you be more specific?
They all have energy beam attacks?
That is correct.
Hey, buddy.
Fred, you
I
did
even
so
got
good this week.
I got the infinity points.
And he hilariously missed like the one he probably should have got the easiest.
Well, yeah.
And the big hint that Brad gave you in the first hint, or the last character's first hint, you just completely whiffed on.
In my defense, I was too busy thinking to myself, I need to correct Brad that I could get it on the hint to listen super closely to the actual hint that I was going to get.
What, Brandon, what do you think was the big hint in the first one?
You gave the name of the daughter.
Oh, yeah. I knew he wouldn't know that, though.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
fair. I didn't think you would either, but that was a very big hint.
It was a huge hit for anyone who knows that Vision's daughter is named Viv Vision.
Well, that's like, as soon as you said it, I was like, all right, I wasn't paying attention in the beginning. Do we need the mom or the dad?
Yeah. Well, the mom's not. The mom's not a character in the game.
Yeah.
'Cause
But I didn't know if we were talking. That would have made sense. Yeah, I didn't think that far ahead.
Vision built his second wife. She is
Yeah.
a Vision herself.
But technically, Vision's in the game in just two ways.
Well, anyway, so thank you very much, Brad, for the trivia game, and let's move on now. Is there anything else we need to do? I don't think there is. Let's move on now to the character that we are here to discuss. That is Apocalypse. Apocalypse, otherwise known as Insabanur. His defenses are 4 physical, 4 energy, and 4 mystic. He has 7 health on his front side and 8 health on his flipped side. He is a threat value of 6, size 4, and a medium mover. And hey, Brandon, why don't you do his attack suite? Let's flip it up a little bit.
First attack is Biomorphic Arsenal. Before choosing a target, this character chooses whether this attack is physical, energy, or mystic. And then after the attack is resolved, this character gains power equal to the damage dealt. It's range 3, 7 dice, and 0 power. I skipped over that, I'm sorry. And if you get a wild, you trigger Cower Before Me. After this attack is resolved, the target character gains either the Shock or Root special condition. If the target character already had the Shock and Root special condition before this attack was chosen, you throw it away short.
All right, wake up there, sleepy pants.
Yeah, I got talking. I started yawning. And then energy, Insabu, Sabah, Nur's Judgment.
Insabanur.
Yeah. Range 2, 8 dice for 3 power. You add 2 dice to attack pool for each special condition the target character has.
All right, and hey, Steven, why don't you do his leadership and the first superpower?
Sure. We have his leadership being the Apocalypse's Horsemen, affiliation Servants of the Apocalypse. When this leadership is chosen, this character is assigned the Master of the Horseman card. Then you may assign the Death, Famine, Pestilence, and War Horseman cards to eligible Servants of the Apocalypse characters in your squad. No character may be assigned more than 1 Horseman card. And then we have an active superpower. No, this is reactive, excuse me. Celestial Technology costs 4 power during the power phase, which is really, really odd. That's reactive and in the power phase. Choose up to 2 other allied characters within 5 of this character. Each chosen character drops all their objective tokens and is placed within 1 of this character.
All right. And Brad, why don't you finish off the card?
His next reactive superpower you will be remade through me. Cost 1. When an enemy character within 5 would gain a special condition it already has, this character may use this superpower. The enemy character gains the bleed, shock, slow, or incinerate special condition instead. A character can be affected by this superpower only once per turn. His innate, only the strong remain. After the attack against this character is resolved, if this character suffered damage, it may remove 1 damage from itself. Additionally, once per turn, when this character would gain a special condition it is immune to, it may either gain 1 power or remove 1 damage from itself. And he has immunity, bleed, incinerate, stun on his healthy side, and immunity, all special conditions on his backside.
Yeah, immunity to everything. I think okay. So this character, his leadership is crazy complicated, and I feel like we need to at least go over what the cards do before we do too much more, because that I feel like this 90% of the time, maybe more than that, you are going to be playing this guy as the leadership that he is associated with, the master of the 4 horsemen. So I will read the Master of the Horsemen card. All right. This is the one that is going to be on Apocalypse. Once per turn during his activation, Apocalypse may use one of the active superpowers on any horseman card that was assigned to an allied character by Apocalypse's horseman leadership. When Apocalypse is KO'd, this card is removed from play after the effect is resolved. During the power phase, this card gains 1 evolution token. This card can have a maximum of 6 evolution tokens on it. Once per turn, while an allied character assigned a horseman card is attacking, defending, or dodging, during the modified dice step, it may remove up to 3 evolution tokens from this card. For each evolution token removed by a character in this way, that character may re-roll 1 of its dice. An allied character assigned a horseman card may spend evolution tokens on this card as if they were power on the stat card to pay for power cost of superpowers on horseman cards. So that is what will be on Apocalypse. Oh, there's so many. There's so much to go over here with the 4 horsemen. So I'm going to divvy it up a little bit. Hey, Steven, why don't you
Sure.
read War?
All
Read
right,
War for me.
War, Horseman card. The assigned character gains the following superpowers. Active superpower, Fury. It will cost you 2 power or 2 evolution tokens. During the next attack made by the character this turn, if the target character is within 2, this character may change 1 die result to a hit for each crit or wild in the attack roll. And then the innate Horseman of War. The first time each turn this character suffers damage from an enemy effect, and the first time each turn this character deals damage after the effect is resolved, Master of the Horseman gains 1 evolution token.
Okay. Hey, Brandon, why don't you read Pestilence?
Pestilence is consuming blight for 2 power. For each enemy character within 2, choose one of the following effects. If the character has poison, root, or slow, it suffers 1 damage. That character gains one of the following special conditions: poison, root, or slow. You can only use it once per turn. And at the end of this character's activation, Master of Horsemen gains 1 evolution token for each enemy character that gained 1 or more special conditions during this character's activation.
Hey, Brad, why don't you read Famine?
Active superpower, Vanish into Dust, 2 power, or 2 tokens. Choose up to 1 enemy character within range 2 of this character. If the enemy character is chosen this way, it loses 1 power. Place this character within range 2 of its current position. This superpower can only be used once per turn. And the innate Horseman of Famine. The end of this character's activation, if no non-dazed enemy characters are within range 3 of it, Master of Horsemen gains 1 evolution token.
And the Horseman of Death, it gets the active superpower Created to End, which costs 3 power. And during the next attack this character makes this turn, add 1 die to the attack roll for each damage the target character has to a maximum of 3. The superpower can be used only once per turn. And the Horseman of Death innate power, once per turn, when another character is dazed or KO'd by this character, or this character is dazed or KO'd, after the effect is resolved, Master of Horsemen gains 3 evolution tokens. All right, so we just went over a whole heck of a lot. I think this leadership is going to be one of the most complicated leaderships in the game, without question. This is a high bar leadership to play, and it is one that I will probably never be able to successfully pull off. It's got just too many plates to spin in the game for me to really do it well. That being said, I think it might be great. This might be a fantastic leadership because it gives out very good effects on the characters that it affects. Like, all those things that we just said could all be in play based off of this leadership. And those are really strong effects. And the evolution token system is also very interesting. Like, being able to spend evolution tokens, one, for rerolls, just anywhere that you want to do rerolls, except I guess you probably can't do it for when you're doing pay to flip rolls, but you can do them for attack, defense, or dodge rolls, and also like to use them to pay for those superpowers that we just mentioned. Oh boy. All right, someone else talk. I've got too much thinking that I'm doing right now. Hey Brad, what are your thoughts here?
The thing really holding him back with this leadership is he doesn't have the best models, and sometimes they're a little off in where they are. So like having Toad as Famine would be amazing, but you can't do it.
Yeah, Toad is not that is not one of the options that he has available.
Honey Badger isn't great. Cassandra Nova is good for him, but expensive. Cable is expensive, and he doesn't really want to be the horseman he's allowed to be. If he could be Death, he would be awesome. Famine would be good for him too. Although I understand why they didn't want him teleporting twice.
Yeah.
I like Apocalypse himself, and there are good models that he can take. I think Archangel and Psylocke, as we mentioned, I think last week, are both really good picks. It's just
those are
figuring out how to play. Figuring out how to play him and his team is going to be hard. Because I don't think he's as good at attrition as he would need to be to go full attrition.
Yeah, so let's talk about him himself. Perhaps I'm trying to be too expansive with the conversation. Let's just focus in on him. I think that he's got some interesting tricks on his card. I think he is a pretty mediocre 6th threat model, aside from all the stuff with his leadership. If I'm to be frank, like the reason I'm saying that is because I'm comparing him to Hulk and 6th threat Thor, who I think both do more attrition wise, or in Hulk's case, scenario wise than Apocalypse does. But Apocalypse does more for his team. Like, that's kind of, I think, how it washes out in the spray here. I feel like his builder can be fantastic, Like it can do a ton of damage if you have a lot of conditions out, but that is kind of that's tricky to get control of. Like a lot of conditions go out on triggers and you can't count on it. But if you're playing in this particular affiliation, your opponent is going to have a ton of conditions. So I'm actually wrong. That's probably a great spender.
Hey, Fred,
Oh,
I just want to interrupt just for a second. Before we go any more into Apocalypse, we forgot his tactics card, sir.
you're right. Okay. Let's talk about his tactics card then. Brad, do you have it pulled up?
I will in a second. Oh,
Okay.
if I can type.
I do not
He
have
has
it
two
pulled
of
up.
them.
Steven, do you have them available in front of you?
Yeah, I said something. I don't. Give me just one moment.
The
I'm in
first one's
Cerebro
called
right now.
Immortal Servants, if you're trying to bring it up.
Okay. All right, I've got it. It is a Servants of the Apocalypse specific card. It is active. Apocalypse may spend 3 power to play this card during his activation. Remove 2 damage from Apocalypse and each other allied character within range 2 of him. Or it can be played reactively when Apocalypse is attacking or defending at the end of the modified dice step of this attack. Before the calculate success or failure step, he may spend 2 power to play this card. The attacking and defending characters re-roll all of their attack and defense dice. Okay, so it's kind of like it can be used reactively as a recalibration matrix. I think it's almost the exact same as recalibration matrix, except it's cheaper. Or it can be used as a heal for Apocalypse and allied characters within range 2 of him, which goes well with his ability to summon everybody back to him.
An ability you're probably never going to use.
Yeah, what is the point of that ability? What is the point of that? We'll talk about that later. All right. What are your thoughts on this card? God, it's 2 different cards in one.
Yeah, I really
like
like the versatility.
Yeah. It can be used for 2 different circumstances.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts here, Brandon?
This card's fine.
Yeah. I think it's playable. What are your thoughts here? Oh,
You're gonna have uses in it if you play it, but it's fine. It's not a card it's gonna like woo you anytime you play it, but it does just fine.
right. What are your thoughts, Stephen?
I believe it's. I like the versatility. I think the card you're thinking about is the We Are Groot card that heals people around Groot. Is that first power technically?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then like I said, the versatility is great. So it's in the 10. It might not make your 5 all the time, but it's there. Just maybe it does come into play. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. No, I could definitely see taking this in your 5. It'll depend on the characters you bring with you, but yeah. All right. That was Immortal Servants, and then there is another one that is called the First One. It is unaffiliated and active. Apocalypse may spend 4 power to play this card. Choose an allied character. The allied character is KO'd. Remove 1 activated token from Apocalypse. If the chosen character was injured, Apocalypse gains the stagger special condition. So this will lets you kill one of your allies to gain an activation with Apocalypse. Question: if the person is death, do you gain 3 evolution tokens?
Probably.
I think so.
Yeah. I don't think it says that they have to be dazed or KO'd by the enemy character.
Yeah. Okay.
Look.
This is solid. This is not bad.
Also,
Now, but everyone tell me why I'm wrong.
also
No, you're
just
not. You're not.
a quick
Yeah,
reminder
this is.
that if Apocalypse is flipped, then he will not gain the stagger.
Ooh, you're right. I didn't think
And
about
in
that.
fact, he will then heal or gain a power because he's immune.
Yep. Uh, yeah, that's neat. I like this. This is a great card for Apocalypse. This Apocalypse is still going to be doing a lot of work on the table every activation, and if you get 2 activations with him a turn, and especially if you do this to death and you gain 3 evolution tokens as well, he can do some. He can make some business happen. I think this is a pretty good card. Brad, what are your thoughts?
I like it.
Brandon, what are your thoughts here?
I think this card's terrible.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts?
I don't like spending the power on him and killing a character. I mean, like the niche play is to gain an extra activation after someone is like done. But like Apocalypse's affiliation's already kind of gonna there's already a lot of affiliations that are gonna be able to play have priority control. So like if you end an activation, play this card, remove his activation token. If the opponent goes, then it can do things it gives the opponent time to figure it out. Like the best case scenario is you get to do this on your last activation, and then Apocalypse gets to immediately activate. I just don't know how often that's actually going to come up, and I feel like if you're bringing this in your 5, you're just not going to play it a lot of the times.
Okay, so you're thinking of it in the sense that it will almost certainly guarantee you do not have priority next round. And yeah,
I
that's
think his
probably true.
affiliation in general is not going to have priority very often.
Okay. Okay.
Why?
Why? Yeah. Why do you say that? They're tall. It's a very tall affiliation. It starts with the 6 threat model.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm sorry. I think he's going to have priority, so there's the opponent's always going to have an extra character to go in between this playing this card and going again with Apocalypse. Unless you just I feel like they're gonna have priority a lot being tall. So the opponents always when you play this card, if you KO, I think the best scenario is you activate say Toad, you use Toad's action, then you play this card to KO Toad to remove the activation token, but the opponent's almost always gonna get a go before Apocalypse goes. So I said that wrong.
Well, yeah, you're correct. So
You
you're worried that
can play this and then immediately go with Apocalypse. It can be your turn. You play the card, then you activate Apocalypse.
Yeah, which is fine, except I don't think that's a good scenario for it. Is what I'm getting at. I just don't think it's good. I didn't talk about Apocalypse, but my opinion on it is I just don't see that that's really all that great of a thing when you're taking another one of your characters out of the game.
I was gonna say this is probably the best case scenario for Honey Badger. This is why Honey Badger is in the list so that you can kill her and let Apocalypse take 2 activations in one round. I think that that makes the most sense for having Honey Badger in the list. Because she's not doing much in the game, and I don't know. I think this is a great card. I think this card is very useful. I disagree with you, Brandon. That is what I am saying.
That's fine.
I don't think it's an amazing card, but I think it has its uses and we'll see play.
I think so too.
Well, what about me?
How about you, Steven? Steven, what are your thoughts?
I think this is one of the top cards.
Man, we are all over the place.
Hear me out.
Okay.
I run Baron Strucker Hydra. I have Bob, who can't die.
Oh, Wait, hold on. It does say KO'd. They are KO'd.
And Bob's card says when this card is KO'd.
Yeah, you're okay. Okay. Uh, so that is the way. In this rare circumstance where you are playing Apocalypse outside of his innate faction, where you're playing him in a different faction, Bob is a perfect target for this card.
Yes.
You're right. It's an absolutely perfect target.
Oh gosh, I love running Bob with Ghost Rider. Oh my god, this is the same thing. Okay.
Oh, jeez. Bob does not get KO'd.
So I mean, I was happy to see a card like this, and I'm kind of excited for a card like this because it doesn't say he has to do it like Brad said on his activation. So I'm going with Bob. I've fired my rocket. I'm flinking off my pistols, and then all of a sudden, Apocalypse has 4 power and says, "Okay, my go." You know. So, but yeah, I kind of like this card quite a bit.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So those are Apocalypse's tactics cards. Let's go back to the model himself. Let's go back to his card. I want to talk about some of his superpowers, specifically celestial technology. I think that this is dumb. I think it's a bad reactive superpower. I don't see when you would use it. Like, I mean,
To get
maybe,
Colossus close to him so Colossus can take damage instead of Apocalypse.
yeah. Colossus is probably a good choice. Yeah, Colossus is the best choice, but I still it's 4 power to trigger it, and it's during the power phase. So you have to know that you need this to be the case before the turn starts. I guess he could be starting next to a Hulk or something, and you don't have priority, so the Hulk is going to spend his turn killing Apocalypse. So you're right, that would be a great use for this superpower. You did find the case where that would be very useful.
And then you could also bring a second person in to threaten the Hulk, such as, I don't know, Wolverine, and they can play their card fastball special. You know? So, I mean.
True. Or Honey Badger, so that the Hulk would have the annoyance, the ankle biter debuff.
Well, she's also got the too dangerous to ignore also.
Too dangerous. Yeah, she has it too. So, okay, well, that's what this superpower is for then.
Or Blob,
what I would say.
Or Blob to bounce people.
Yeah. Brad, what did you say? I missed what you
bad. Don't use it.
Yeah, I think that this is like that. Everything that we just talked about is kind of edge case. Yes, this superpower is so it's weird that it's on here and it's so expensive.
Well, you're teleporting 2 people, and it's in the power phase. It's not taking up anybody's actions or anything like that.
True. Yeah. I'm kind of in Brad's camp. I don't like that superpower. You will be remade tougher. Remade through me is pretty good. I think that you're going to put out lots of conditions in this game, and sometimes it's going to be the same one. So every once in a while, it'll be nice to be able to do that. How many times has Cable put incinerate on someone who's already incinerated?
Or
or
you bleed someone again with all the characters that give out bleed.
Right.
Or Pyro when he rolls wild. Sorry, Brandon.
It's I don't think Pyro's going to do shit in this scenario.
But Pyro's not a horse.
He's
Pyro's
not,
a horseman.
but he's so good in the affiliation. It's just a splash model.
But I think this superpower is very good in Hydra, specifically.
Well, yeah,
you're
that too,
correct.
But who cares about
You're
Hydra?
correct. It is good in Hydra. It's probably great under Strucker. Like this is Strucker's. You found the one place where you may want to splash Apocalypse.
Oh, I am.
It's
I
kind of
am
weird.
going to. Yeah.
I do like that this gives you this the conditions that you want to give out, and bleeds there too.
Yeah, it gives you bleed and all the good ones. Yeah, I do like this superpower. This superpower will probably be used most games that you're playing Apocalypse. It'll get used. Uh, Now let's talk about his passive superpower. Only the strong remain. This is this is interesting. It's not quite as good as damage reduction, but it's better in some cases.
Like against
Like
Namor.
yeah, it's better against Namor, obviously. But also it is a case where if you take one damage, you then heal that one damage. And if like a lot of damage reduction is down to a minimum of 1, this is not down to a min. This is like damage reduction down to 0. Now it's not quite as good as damage reduction in that if you get taken down by it, you don't get to heal. Like if it takes you down to no more stamina, the healing doesn't happen. Correct? Is that right?
Right.
Yes.
Am I correct about that?
Yeah, if he dazes from the damage, he does not get to then heal and undaze.
Correct. Yeah. So,
fun fact about the second part of this, I've been paying attention since the front of this card was spoiled about whether wild triggers and stuff that give out a condition say may, and I haven't found one that does yet.
oh yeah, like it's always every single time it gives out a condition.
Yeah.
It's not may give out a condition.
Yeah.
So, like there are going to be lots of times where you really don't want to roll that wild because Apocalypse is going to be immune to whatever it is, and you're going to heal him.
Yep.
And I was listening to another podcast that had a judge on it, and this does not work on Demons Downtown.
It does not. No.
Right. It doesn't, because that happens during the power phase,
which is during a turn. Correct.
Yeah.
Same with oh god, what's it called? Mayor Fisk. The Mayor Fisk one. The stun he is immune to, but it's not during a turn, so he won't gain power from it.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, he's just I like him.
Well, yeah. Let's discuss his attack suite. I love his builder, and I don't know what to think about his spender. I want someone else to talk about his spender. Brandon, you have not spoken all that much. What are your thoughts on his spender? I want to I need to nail down my thought process here because I'm not sure what to think of it.
I think his builder is what you're going to be using on 99% of the attacks you make with this character.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't think the spinder's all that great. I think it's fine, but I don't think it's all that great. I think most of the time you're going to be using his spender or his builder. And he doesn't necessarily have a ton of ways to spend power outside of the horseman cards. So it's not like, it feels like he's kind of designed to, like, those evolution tokens are good, but he also will most likely have power to spend on that because you're not going to be using celestial technology. The one power occasionally for you will be remade through me is going to get used, but at the same time, it's not like, I mean, he's going to be able to gain power off a range 3/7 die builder that gets to pick the weakness of the opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you use that. I just don't think you're going to be using the spender all that much. I mean, there might be a scenario where it's really good, where you got to add like 6 dice or something crazy to it. But for the
Right,
most
there are
part,
times when people have 3 conditions on them. That comes up every once in a while. But
Yeah.
other than that, I agree with you. I feel like the spender is a conditional thing. You're usually going to be using the builder.
Yeah, it's conditional.
Oh God.
Come on, Frank.
Unintentional. Okay. Does anyone have anything else they want to say about Apocalypse? Brad, do you have anything? What are your thoughts here?
I'm gonna give him a real go after the LVO qualifier at Pittsburgh, and I plan on taking him to second wind. So I think he's worth trying, and we'll see if I can get him to work.
Okay. Brandon, what are your thoughts here on Apocalypse?
I'll be honest. I think he's really bad.
Okay.
I think the leadership has too many hoops you have to jump through. I don't like the characters that are selected to be in the affiliation. I don't think you can play attrition, which is what Apocalypse kind of wants to play. To play more of a scenario game, you can, but then you're stuck with the 6-point Apocalypse in the middle of it, which makes it hard to play scenario. Obviously it's like super like low amount of games, but like it's not faring very well so far on like Longshanks, and I kind of think that's going to continue. I think this is going to be a very bottom tier affiliation in the game.
Okay. And Steven, what are your thoughts here?
Well, I'm going to use him for the purposes he was not created for.
You're using him as a splash in Hydra.
Correct. Yes.
I think he's better in Hydra than he is running his own affiliation.
I
Oh
would
boy.
I would have to agree with Brandon on that. And I wish his affiliation had a little bit more ability to do splashes, but those cards that you give the horseman are so powerful that you really can't.
You
Also,
you don't need war and death. They are so similar in what they do. And
right.
famine's the only one you absolutely need.
Correct. But the other thing is, I wish AMG would have gone this direction with Emma Frost's Hellfire Club, to tell you the truth. But that's for another day. But like I said, I'm going to use him for purposes he was not intended for.
Okay. All right. Brad. Wait, that's everybody. Has everyone had a chance to talk?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. We need to give this guy a letter grade. I will go first here. So I'm still having trouble wrapping my head around all the stuff on this card. Part of the reason why is that this character is not just what's on his card. He comes with 4 additional like huge buffs that he puts out on 4 characters. I feel like that's like a big part of his kit, and that's also kind of why he's an underwhelming 6th threat. Like as far as 6 threats go, he's really low just based off of what's on his card. That
Also,
being said, oh, yep.
I just wanted to say one thing because we didn't really touch on it. Being size 4 allows like every other model in the same size range to be able to throw him into like his teammates and stuff, which is really detrimental where he doesn't have a throw of anything. Obviously he does like on his very conditional throw on his spender or his builder, but like not having a throw like kind of the Juggernaut splash problem is when you start splashing Juggernaut and then you start running into Hulks, you just get used as a weapon of destroying your own team.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And yeah, I'm I am not high on Apocalypse, but I also am interested. It's like he's more the center of a team, and with a bunch of buffs to give around to everyone else on the team. So I don't know where I'm gonna put him. I'm gonna say that I am going to give him a C plus right now, and that might be a little on the low end, but I think that that's where I'm gonna put him. I'm giving him a C plus. Okay, Brad, what are your thoughts here on Apocalypse?
I'm gonna give him a B. I don't know where he is yet. B sounds good.
Okay, Brandon, what are your thoughts?
I told Brad I had a hot take. My hot take is I think this affiliation is going to be the second worst affiliation in the game.
Okay,
I think
Sentinel.
I think Sentinels will be the worst. I think this will be right above it, and I think it'll rival Sentinels of being like one of the worst in the game. I think I have Apocalypse as a character, not the affiliation, but as an overall character, I have him at C. I almost went C minus. But I'm gonna get a C.
Okay, and Steven, what are your thoughts here?
I'm actually going to be higher. I think,
Because you found the place for him. You have a place where he fits real well.
but here's why I'm putting him higher is because I appreciate the design. Okay, he's not going to be a 6 that is splashed everywhere like Hulk is. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's not going to be everywhere like Thor, champion of mix. So I guess I have 2 grades. I've got an A for the design quality. Okay, I like, but I'm going to put him at a B plus for the moment.
Okay, a B plus.
But design quality,
you're giving
he's an A.
I look forward to our future recalibration matrix on him.
Yeah, we are all over the place on this guy. This guy is, and part of it is that this guy's so complex and hard, and we don't know where he's gonna shake out. I don't know if anyone has unlocked this faction yet and like said, "Hey, this is how to play them," and they're incredible. I don't think it's happened yet. It may never happen. We'll see.
We're gonna live in a world where someone during the recalibration matrix will be like, "Oh, I was right. You guys were all wrong."
I mean, someone has to be right at this point.
Yeah, because we're all over the place.
Unless he's just S tier and we are all wrong.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'd have to eat my shorts.
Hey, here's
on
a hot
one.
take. There is no way this character is going to be S tier.
He's also going to get models added to his affiliation as we go.
That's true. That's
true. There's a lot of potential there too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was Apocalypse. I guess time is gonna tell on this one. we're still not sure here, but I feel like we've talked about him enough. Except, hey, Brad, do you have any comic book recommendations that feature this guy? I know for a fact that you've told me that he doesn't have very many good comic book appearances.
No, I still have 3 recommendations.
Okay.
So the first one is X Factor 9 through 26 by Luis and Walter Simonson. This covers the X Factor parts of Mutant Massacre through all the mutants, and you don't really need to read the other parts of those crossovers. This is the complete tale of Angel's Fall and Archangel's Rise, and it's also one of the best Apocalypse stories ever written.
Okay.
Fred, are you having deja vu yet?
Yeah, you brought. Was that the same one as you did for Archangel?
Is literally exactly what I said last week. Okay, so the next is Age of Apocalypse, and this was an event in the 90s, and it spanned multiple books. So there were lots of different writers and artists. And what Marvel did was it canceled all of their X-Men comics. And they didn't solicit new issues of that, so it looked like they weren't going to be coming back. And instead, they did a 4-month crossover where they took every comic and every X-Men comic, and they made a new version of it that takes place in this alternate universe where Xavier dies right after meeting Magneto, and Magneto has to create the X-Men later because Xavier dying also wakes Apocalypse up early, and he takes over North America and rules it with an iron fist. And the only people trying to stop him are Magneto's X-Men.
Okay.
Apocalypse himself isn't the main focus of the story, but he is in the comic, and they do fight him, and it's probably the best Apocalypse as the big bad story that they've ever done.
Okay, and to reiterate it, this is a alternate universe that is not canon.
It replaced the main universe, and then, I mean, spoiler alert, at the end they fix it, and then at that point when they fix it, it becomes an alternate universe.
Okay, God, this comic book. What's your third one?
Bishop is the only one that remembers how the universe is supposed to be. So
Okay,
the third.
so it's
one,
a Bishop comic.
I mean, Bishop's important.
Okay.
The third one is Excalibur from 2019, 1 through 15, and then all of 10 of Swords.
Is that what 10 of Swords is? Like,
no.
Okay.
You're going to read issues 1 through 15 of Excalibur and also all of the 10 of Swords stuff.
Okay.
Teeny Howard and Marcus Toe, that's who does Excalibur. And then there's a lot of other people who worked on 10 of Swords. Apocalypse, along with all the other mutants, have been forgiven their past and accepted into Krakoa. So Apocalypse has joined Krakoa, seen a version of the mutant rule he wished for. He gets to set aside his old ways and embrace the new way, and we learn his history and his motivations and why he's been doing what he's been doing all this time. But that history comes back to cause problems, and Apocalypse has to step up and lead his new people against his former people. Plus, X of Swords is a really fun crossover where 9 of the greatest mutants and Cypher have to fight 10 of the best warriors who oppose them. Did you like that, Fred?
Hey, to be fair, yeah, and to be fair to Cypher, he scores more points than most people.
Not more than
he
Gorgon.
Scores a point. No, you're right. Gorgon scores the most.
Gorgon scores many points.
Gorgon also, spoiler alert, dies?
He sure does.
And he becomes one of the 100 warriors of the White Blade?
No.
If I'm to understand it, I think that is what happens.
He gets out of that.
Oh, he gets out of it. Okay.
Yeah, he has to get out because he's just like, he gets resurrected. Duh. on Krakoa. But if you die in Otherworld, you are not the same.
Yeah, so he's a different person. Is what you're saying.
He is a different person, but he does not become one of the 100 because he gets resurrected.
Oh, okay. Boy, now I kind of feel like how other people must feel like, where you and I can talk and other people have no idea what we're talking about.
That's true. That's true.
I'm on the inside of one of these comic book conversations. This is weird.
Yeah. Doug does win his trial.
What did you just say? I missed what.
I said Doug won his trial. Cypher.
Doug. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Doug won his trial.
He won his trial, and boy did he win.
Yeah, he's the one who comes out of this the most successful.
Do you know what happened to him after Krakoa ended? Of course you don't.
Well,
That's rhetorical.
No, hold on. I know that he does end up dying because during our Warlock episode, you mentioned that Warlock picks up his body and drags it around.
That is
and shows it to people
before Krakoa.
Oh, okay.
That was in the 80s, Fred.
Listen,
in the 90s, he absorbs all of Doug's memories and thinks he is Doug. Warlock does. No, after Krakoa, Doug wins a competition to replace Apocalypse on Earth as the Agent of Change and is renamed Revelation while Apocalypse goes and fucks off on Mars.
Okay.
I don't know. That was a weird story.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the comic book recommendations, Brad. I'm moving us forward before we get too far up this rabbit hole. Hey, Brad and Brandon, do you know where? I know that Steven has an answer to this one. Where do you think you could splash Apocalypse outside of his faction?
I will go ahead and defer to Steven. That
Steven.
was going to be my answer. But he's done way more research on it than I have.
Yeah, Steven, talk about this. Talk about your tech here with Apocalypse.
Well, he can't be in just any Hydra list. He has to be in a Strucker Hydra list. Reason being is that, he gets, if he gets the immunity, he heals one. He's immune to incinerate, bleed, and stun. That's just perfect. He also heals through Strucker's leadership. He gives out conditions like candy. You will be remade through me when you're putting a lot of characters into Strucker Hydra that put out conditions, and he will just stack another condition on him, which he can heal from. So,
right.
It's incredible how well he goes with that leadership. The trouble is you have Strucker and you got to keep him protected, i.e. run Bucky. Okay. Keeps him protected pretty well. And then run Bob with him too. So you can use that pretty fantastic card. Well, what I think is a pretty fantastic card. How's that? So, and then splash in Red Skull 3 so you can port him around with a scalpel, and I think you're golden.
Oh boy. So when you first told me this tech, I was like, that's crazy. Why would you ever do this? Now that we've talked about it and we've thought about it, this is where you want to play Apocalypse. I think this is better than him as a leader.
Yeah, and his builder gets so much better because you're hinting out all those conditions, right?
So. Right. Yeah. I think this is a good place for him. So. Okay. Well, thank you very much, guys. The only thing that's left is my non sequitur recommendation, and so I've got nothing here for Apocalypse, nothing at all. So I'm just going to talk about a movie that I saw recently that I very much enjoyed, and that is the movie Alien Romulus. So this is an alien movie that what they were trying to do is go back to how the first Alien movie felt, and they do so in a way that is mostly successful. I would say that it is a pretty successful movie, all things considered. There is a very unfortunate AI recreation of an actor that passed away, Ian Holm, and it is entirely unnecessary and bad. And I feel like one, it does not look real. You can tell immediately that it's an AI recreation. And two, why not just have this be a different actor? There's no reason that it has to be this guy. I feel like it is entirely just the people who made the movie thinking, let's show off our ability to make actors do things we want them to do, even after they are dead. And in so being, it's kind of perverse and disgusting. But other than this, I think the movie is a very good movie, and that you should all go see it.
Well, Fred, I'm
yeah.
going to counterpoint you a little bit on the EM home
Okay.
situation.
Okay.
If you remember in the second movie, Aliens, Bishop refers to Ash as a previous model, which to me, that line right there insinuates that all the Ash model androids look the same.
You're right. He does do that. There's this. We know that there are androids that look different. There's an android that looks different in the movie Alien Romulus. I feel like they could have just had it be a different android. You're right. There is precedent. Like there is a reason that it could have been this guy, but I feel like there's no reason story-wise why it had to be him. It could have just been a different actor. They could have hired a different actor to portray the role and have it be a different model android.
Right. I was just pointing it out for, maybe they did that for continuity's sakes. So.
Yeah. If you see it, you'll say, boy, howdy, that doesn't look very good. And why did they do this?
I'm really disappointed that we didn't get to hear Fred's favorite Oscar Isaac movie.
My favorite Oscar Isaac movie?
Yeah.
Wait, what's my favorite Oscar Isaac movie?
Well, that's who played Apocalypse in the movie.
Oh, is it really? Yeah. I did not know that.
So that's where you always go. So I thought that's what we were going to get to hear.
And he was
I didn't even look up who played it.
He was the gentleman who did Moon Knight also, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was Moon Knight.
Oscar Isaac is an outstanding actor with a huge breadth of great movies behind him. So I probably should have done something like that. But I did want to talk about Alien Romulus while it was still relevant to the conversation in America. Because it's probably getting to the point where it's going to be leaving theaters soon. It has been highly successful, but it's been out for a couple weeks. I think it might have been out for more than a month now. I don't know. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening in to us prattle on for a very long time about Apocalypse. And thank you everyone.
For 3 weeks.
Has it only been 3 weeks?
Yeah, it came out mid-August.
Okay, then never mind. It is still relevant.
I was also like, I don't think this is going out like anytime soon. I was really confused.
I thought it'd been out longer than that. I've had it's been a long couple weeks, and I was late to the party on Alien Romulus. I wanted to see it the night it came out, but I wasn't able to. All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you. Goodbye, everybody.